Hello everybody, and thank you for your presence. So today I will present my work entitled Adaptive TDMA-based clustering for critical event detection in wireless sensor networks. Firstly, I will begin with a small introduction. After that, I will present the problematic and the objective of our work, followed by a brief description of our adaptive approach for critical event detection. Thereafter, I will present the performance evaluation of our contribution. Finally, I will finish with a small conclusion. So the context of our work is the wireless sensor networks, which are deployed in many applications such as the health monitoring, the fire detection in a forest, etc. These networks are composed by a set of nodes deployed randomly in the environment in order to monitor the area, also to collect the data and to transmit it to the sync node. The problem of these sensor nodes is in their batteries, because once they are exhausted, they cannot be replaced or reloaded. But while the sync station is an special node in terms of the level, the battery level and the level in the computation of the data. In our work, we interest to the traffics evenementially. It means when an event occurs in the environment, in this time, the sensor nodes will be activated in order to detect it and to transform this information to the sync node. But the problem if this event is critical. At this moment, we try to resolve the problem, how the sensor nodes can detect the critical event and inform the sync node at the required delay with minimum energy consumption. Through our research, we have found that the energy dissipates in the communication between the sensor nodes, in the medium access, in the routing of the data in the networks, in the data computation, in the data aggregation, etc. So we try to have a compromise between the energy and the delay. We consume less energy, but at the same time, we try to respect the delay constraints. For that, we propose an adaptive approach based on the adaptation of the TDMA cycle for critical event detection. So the main idea of our contribution is to optimize the TDMA cycle within an adaptive allocation of time slots when the non-periodic traffics occur in the same detection area. We have, among many principles we have followed. Firstly, the network topology is a tree. After that, we apply the clustering techniques. It means we group the sensor nodes in 2 clusters per parent node. After that, we applied simultaneously the time division multiple access and the frequency division multiple access in order to avoid the collisions between the sensor nodes. And finally, we have based it on 2 phases. During the first phase, the sensor node must ensure that, that an event was occurred from the states of its neighbor's node. And during the second phase, we activate only the sensor nodes that are around the event to can follow its propagation, and then we deactivate the other nodes. I will give you a well example to explain our contribution. So as you see, the network is a tree where the data circulates from the children nodes to the sync node routed by the parent nodes. it should be mentioned that each parent node can collect, router, and receive the data from its children nodes, and then retransmit it to the sink node. The problem is in the interferences between nodes. For that, we propose to apply it simultaneously and to use simultaneously a different temporal channel and a different frequential channel. If there is interferences between the nodes, in order to avoid these interferences, we group the nodes per parent node into clusters, and we applied the time division multiple access. After that, we affect to each cluster a different frequency to another cluster. In this case, all the nodes of the cluster share the same frequency but with different time slots. And if there is an interference between the children nodes, in this case, we fuse the clusters having a lower cardinality and we affect them one frequency. And we can reuse the frequencies at the two hopes. Now, when an event occurs in the environment, the nearest node to this fire can detect it and inform its neighbors that the event was occurred to can be in active state. Since the event propagates with a certain velocity, we must activate all the nodes in the same tracking area in order to follow its propagation and not destroy the sensor nodes. And then we deactivate the other nodes. Now the question, how a sensor node knows if an event was occurred. For that, as we have said, is depending on the states of the neighbor's nodes. It means when there is no activity, the sensor node is a normal state. After that, if there are no hello messages exchanged between the sensor nodes and the others in order to maintain the good operation of the network, the sensor node will deduces that its neighbor is in a suspect state. In this case, we have two possibilities can be occur. Either the node is in a set of fire state when the fire destroys the event, the sensor, and if there is a problem in a detection system, or is in failed state when there is no fire detected during a timeout. So as you see, before the event detection, the inactive period is more longer than the active period, while when an event occurs in the environment, the inactive period becomes more shorter than the active period, just for the sensor nodes around the event and in the same tracking area of the event propagation. In our work, we have analyzed on the hand the TDMA cycle, and it must be noted that the time slot is used also to transmit the hello messages to the parent nodes. For that, the period for sending the hello message is dictated by the TDMA cycle. For that, this TDMA cycle is less or equal than the duration to transmit the hello message. We have analyzed the TDMA cycle in two cases. In the first case, when the activity area is lower, which is expressed by the following equations. And in the high activity area, the TDMA cycle is expressed by the following equations. On the other hand, we have analyzed the DT cycle in two cases also. When we fuse the data before the transmission, which is expressed by the following equation, where Ci is the cluster size, the Ts is the duration of the time slot, and finally the Gi is the data generation rate. In the case when we don't fuse the data before the transmission, the DT cycle is expressed by the following equation, where the Fi is the data generation rate received from the children nodes. In order to approve and to evaluate our contribution, we have compared our approach with the non-adaptive approaches and the OCS approach. Why the OCS approach, on-demand converged-cast scheduling? Because it seems to be adequate to our context compared to the others like pattern MAC, traffic adaptive MAC, gateway MAC, etc. But the limits of this approach does not take into account the required detection time to transmit the data from the children nodes to the sink node, and is a major issue in the critical applications. The DT cycle, which refers to the energy consumption and the delay, are taken as a performance metric. In our simulation, we have varied the number of nodes per cluster, which refers to the network size, the radius of the tracking area of the event propagation, which refers to the node activities, and finally the active nodes, which refers to the TDMA cycle. So through our simulations, we have seen the influence of the adaptive TDMA cycle on the delay and the energy consumption. Our first simulations, we have varied the DT cycle depending on the number of nodes per cluster, and we have compared our approach to the non-adaptive approaches, and we have proved that our approach is better in terms of the activity of sensor nodes, because we have the DT cycle equal 0.05% in our case, when we have 5 nodes per cluster, while is equal 0.1% with the non-adaptive approaches with the same number of nodes per cluster. The second simulations, we have varied the delay depending on the radius of tracking area of the event propagation. So when the radius of this area increases, the delay increases also. The third simulations, we have varied the DT cycle depending on the number of nodes per cluster, and we have taken 2 values for the radius tracking area. The first value is 100 meter, and the second value is 17 meter. We remark that when the radius of tracking area increases, the DT cycle increases also. And then the activity of sensor nodes increases. It means the energy consumption increases. Finally, we have compared our approach to the OCS approach, and we have proved that our approach is better than it in terms of energy consumption and activities of sensor nodes. So we can, in this work, we have proposed an adaptive approach based on the adaptation of the TDMA cycle depending on the event detection and its propagation in the network. We have also optimized the TDMA cycle to reduce the activity period of sensor networks. This optimization is applied locally and on the sensor nodes in the same tracking area of the event propagation. Finally, we can say that the adaptation of the TDMA cycle has shown that our approach is better than the others, like non-adaptive and OCS approaches, in terms of energy consumption and delay. And thank you for your attention. Any questions?
Well, thanks so much for your presentation, for your
Thanks.
contribution, and for sharing these interesting results with us. Maybe we'll move for the Q&A questions session, question and answer session. Is there any questions? Well, actually, I have few ones, since in SUBCOM we are working also in wireless sensor network deployment, and we have some prototypes, and we have done some work related to that, and I am so interested in your contribution. However, for the sake of curiosity, I would like to know, how do you cluster the sensors? You have many sensors and you group them into groups. How do you choose the number of groups and which sensor belongs to which group?
So our main idea is to transform the network into tree. The network represented by a graph into tree, based on the level of of the energies of each sensor node. So the clustering is based on the nearest node to the principal node, which will be the parent node for these nodes. It means we group the nodes depending on their batteries, and we must respect the delay constraints. So the nearest node to the other node will be its child nodes.
Okay, I see. Excellent. Is there other questions? Actually, also I have another one. You have used TDMA, FDMA,
Yes.
multiple access technique.
Yes.
In order to
Avoid collisions.
avoid collision and to enable several sensors to access to the resources.
Exactly.
However, in wireless communication, we know there are several other multiple access techniques, such as CDMA, OFDMA. My question is, why this particular choice, FDMA, TDMA? Why not the other multiple access technique? How do you choose?
Maybe because we work on the real time. So we have need to respect these constraints and to have transmissions, parallel transmissions to transmit the data to the sync node. So.
Excellent. Other question? Yes, please.
Okay, sorry, maybe I missed something during your presentation. you were talking about interferences when the children communicate, so you can merge the clusters.
Yes.
So is there any possibility that you have a cluster with many nodes and some other cluster with few nodes? And what will be the impact of merging the clusters?
You talk about when the interferences are happened in two children nodes. We fuse the clusters having the lower cardinality. It means the clusters having a lower number of nodes will be fission.
More questions? Any questions? If not, maybe I have the last question. You have chosen a tree architecture.
Exactly.
So the child is linked to his mother through a unique link.
Yes.
For the sake of reliability, if this link between the child and the mother is broken for one reason or another, and we know that the sensors may be deployed in a forest or in some hard environment, then maybe if this link is broken for some reason,
Reassociation.
there is a problem of reliability.
Yes.
My question is can we consider an architecture where every node is related to another one? That's mean une architecture maillée, au lieu d'une architecture en arborescence.
In this case, we cannot respect the delay constraints
I see.
because we try to compromise between the delay and the energy.
I see. So the delay is a critical parameter in such
Exactly.
a situation.
Exactly. We try to consume less energy, but at the same at the same time, we try to respect the delay constraints.
Excellent. Excellent. Any more questions? So again, I would like to thank you for sharing with us these interesting results.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Maybe. Well, maybe let's move to the next presentation, the next paper. So I would like to call Ms. Zekia Jaleli for presenting her recent research results. So Ms. Zekia Jaleli is a PhD student at SUPCO. She got her master degree in telecommunication from SUPCO in 2012. So she is currently a second-year PhD student at SUPCO. She is an active researcher in COSIM laboratory at SUPCO. She works on sparse representation, recovery, and their application in wireless communication, such as rare event detection in wireless sensor network using compressed sensing theory. And today we are lucky she's gonna present for us her recent research results published in her paper in PromNet entitled "A Study of Deterministic Sensor Placement for Sparse Event Detection in Wireless Sensor Network based on compressed sensing." So please go ahead. Voilà le micro. Donc voilà le micro. So we have 20 minutes.
Thank you. Hello. We want to present our paper entitled "The Study of Deterministic Sensor Placement for Sparse Event Detection in Wireless Sensor Networks based on Compressed Sensing" with Mr. Sufyan Sharif and Mrs. Leila Najjar Atalla. Okay. First we present the general context of our work. In wireless communication, there are many data to be processed. Then, for solve this problem, the compression techniques can be used as a solution for this. With the simple compression, the usual information can be losses. But in the recent years, it appears in new techniques name is compressed sensing. This theory is based on sparse representation. A signal is sparse when the majority of the coefficients are fixed to 0. The other coefficient or the few coefficients are active. This theory is exploited the correlation, the projection, the coherence procedure. In our work, we will exploit this compressed sensing in wireless communication. Actually, we consider the problem or the application of the compressed sensing in wireless sensor networks. For the outline, we start by an overview of compressed sensing. Then we present the problem of sparse event detection and counting in wireless sensor networks based on compressed sensing. We finish by the conclusion and some perspective. As I said in the introduction, that the compressed sensing is based on sparse representation. It is mathematical techniques. The basic idea is to find an optimal solution for indeterminate system given by this equation, where Ym represents the global observation measurement with the dimension m, and A, it is the overcomplete dictionary with the m rows and n columns, such as m, it is very, very smaller than n. The S, it is the objective signal to be returned. It is K-sparse. Its means it has K coefficient active among the n coefficient. Based on compressed sensing and by considering the LA normal minimization and adopting the two assumption, such as it is greater or equal to K, and the matrix A is randomly generated, the optimal solution can be guaranteed. Then we recover the sparse representation based on compressed sensing algorithms. In these cases, we distinguish two categories of the compressed sensing algorithms: the iterative algorithms, such as the matching pursuit, the orthogonal matching pursuit, the convex optimization, such as the lasso, the basis pursuit. Okay, we consider now the problem of sparse event detection and counting in wireless sensor networks based on compressed sensing. We start by the system model, then we will present the two contributions of this paper presented in this paper. The first is the two-step greedy matching pursuit. The second we shows to optimize the sensor placement schemes. For the system model, considering a monitored area divided into n grid. Yes. In each grid, one sensor is placed or is located at the center. In the case of rare events is considered here. Then in each active grid, there are one or most than one events can be generated. In our our main objective is to detect the position of the active grid and to count the number of events per active grid. considering that ZEG it is the received signal power energy at the sensor G from the target at location E, it is given by this equation. It is the P0 multiplied by the relay fading multiplied by the number of events generated in grid E divided by the path loss. Okay, then the received signal at the sensor G, it is the sum of ZEG. Now concatenating the XG for G equal 1 until n, we obtained the system model, where X it is a global observed vector, and phi it is n times n target energy decay matrix, and the S it is the sparse signal with number presented the number of events per grid, and the n it is the noise component contribution. We will present now how can apply the compressed sensing theory in wireless sensor networks. The main constraint in wireless sensor networks is the energy constraint, is the deployment cost. We to meet this problem, we used only M among the N measurement, M sensor. There are M sensor among the N sensor are used here, such as M it is very, very less than N. Then the system can be written from this equation. So we can apply the compressed sensing since we assume that the sparse representation, or that the signal presenting the events is sparse. In the existing work, a random selection of the considered sensor is used. So then greedy matching pursuit algorithm is applied. This algorithm is combined the two aspects. It is the greedy aspect and the matching pursuit. Also, it is based on simultaneously of the two phases, is the detection and the counting detection of the position of the active grid position and counting the number of events in each active grid. Okay, in this paper we propose to a modified version of GMP of this algorithm. It is the two-step greedy matching pursuit. It is 2S GMP, and we propose to optimize the deployed sensor placement. For the two-step GMP, it is iterative algorithms. It is based on separating the two phases, the detection and the counting. For the detection, it is we use the maximum correlation procedure to detect the position of active grid, and the counting is like the GMP algorithm. This algorithm, this modified version, this proposed modified version allows both to reduce the competition complexity and to enhance the performance. For all simulation results presented here, we consider the following parameters. We take n equal 64 to the number of sensors in the grid. In the area, M equal 20, it is the deployed sensor, and K equal to, it is the number of active grid in this area. Okay, donc the following we can see according The following table presented the different or the number or of multiplication of each algorithm of GMP and to this GMP. And according this figure, we can see that C2 it is the number of multiplication corresponding to this GMP. It is greater than C1. Okay. The performance evaluation is evaluated in terms of NMSC and COE. The left figure presenting the NMSC of Versisa Sana. We can see that to this GMP realizes a good enhancement compared to the GMP, mainly with over the realization with correct detection. Okay. For the proposed optimized sensor deployment, we propose two metric. The first metric, it is based on global observed vector, where we show the N, or shows the M less correlated sensor or less correlated component of the global observed vector, or the M component with the maximum energy. Okay. The second metric is based on channel matrix, where we use the coherence metric to show the M sensor. The performance evaluation or the simulation results shows enhancement of that the metric based on the global observed vector realizes a gain of 5 dB with respect to the random selection. For the conclusion, in this paper, we consider the problem of sparse event detection and counting in wireless sensor networks using compressed sensing. Okay, we proposed a modified version of GMP. It is the 2S GMP. This algorithm allows both to reduce the computational complexity and to enhance the performance. Okay, and we consider the problem of the optimized sensor placement. As perspective in the next work, we can find in optimal transformation that can be made such as sparse representation, as we can exploit the structure of the representation of the representation. For example, the coefficient can be organized in block, which can improve the detection problem. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Zakia, for sharing with us these interesting research results. Maybe let's move for the question and answer session. Is there any question? Yes, please.
So thank you for your presentation. If I understand well your presentation, you were working on how to you were investigating how to get the event and how to communicate it in a wireless sensor network. And my question is, do you plan to investigate your contribution in an IoT environment?
I don't know.
So the IoT environment is based on sensors, but the sensor not only transmit the events, but also it can transmit data or traffic and so on. And you worked in compression. Did you consider this aspect or these concepts in your compression algorithm or something like that?
It can be, yes.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? If not, maybe for the sake of curiosity, I would like to ask one question. Maybe you choose a certain simulation parameters. The number of active degrees 64, the number of sensors is 60. So is it related to
It is
a practical deployment, or why you choose these parameters?
It is the application to simulation evaluation, yes.
I see.
To demonstrate the enhancement of our proposed techniques, yes.
Okay, and for your optimized sensor placement,
Yes.
you choose a wireless mobile sensor network or fixed ones?
Fixed sensor,
Fixed, so you fix them once and for all?
yes.
Yes, I see. Any other questions? Yes, please. Is here.
Thank you. Actually, I was wondering in which extent your simulation is significant, because you have a specific case, and your experimentation and simulation should be significant to be extended to usual networks. Anyway, my question was about finding, in your perspectives, you are speaking about finding an optimal transformation. How will you manage to find such optimal transformation? The point is optimal.
Optimal, yes. The optimal transformation, for example, we can, when we consider a signal, it is not sparse. The signal, it is not stationary. We can find it in a transformation that makes this this signal sparse, and this transformation varies with the variation of the signal, of the original signal. It is the signification of the optimal transformation.
This is your signification. It's not the signification of optimal transformation in general terms.
I don't.
And anyway. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sizied. Maybe other questions? Yes, please.
So another question, Miss. So you are doing compression here, and I want to know in each field or in each step you are doing compression. You are compressing data. You are compressing what exactly?
The compression is compression in the phase of acquisition. Yes.
How to acquire the information
Yes.
in order to be processed or maybe to be communicated. It's okay.
Yes.
So here, while you are receiving something, it's okay. It's the same here. You are acquiring, you are receiving something from the environment. So how can we compare exactly? I want to know exactly in the point. I want just to make my hand and just in the point.
The signification of the compression.
Yes. Because your idea here, from the title of your paper, this is compression, and when I see is the key word here, it's okay. So what I want, I want to point my hand there. It's okay, that's what I want.
The compression is mainly that the signal or the S signal presenting the, yes. The S signal presenting the events generated in this area, it is sparse, it is rare events, yes?
Okay, yes.
It is, this means that the majority of the coefficient of the signal is zero, to be zero. Only a few of coefficient are to be active. This is the compression. Yeah. Okay.
It's okay.
Such as the correlation between the active coefficient is very, very small. Okay.
Here, like you are saying that we have here a sensor, but we don't have very much events to be detected.
Yes.
But what are you doing? Just you are trying, maybe in order to consume less energy, you are detecting maybe in not periodically, but maybe in larger time like this.
Yes.
Like that, you are doing the
Yes,
compression.
it is.
It's okay. Thank you very much.
More questions? More questions? Maybe let me continue on her question. You are using compressed sensing techniques. That means you have a rare event. So instead of looking for the whole solution, since all of them, you know, there are zeros, you need to find the non-zero one as well as their positions. You need to find the non-zero elements as well as their corresponding positions.
Yeah.
So I totally agree that using this technique, you will reduce the complexity. However, how come you increase the performance? How can you explain the performance in terms of bit error rate, etc.? How can you explain the performance improvement? In the conclusion, you mentioned we improve the performance.
Yes.
And reduce the complexity.
Yes. With respect to the greedy matching pursuit, it is an algorithm. It is a recent proposed algorithm. It's the greedy matching pursuit. Here we propose a modified version. Then we compare the performance of the two algorithms. Yes.
Excellent, excellent. More questions? If there is no question, let's thank Ms. Zakia for her high quality contribution, and looking forward to see you in more conferences and more presentations. Thanks a lot. I guess the wireless sensor network session reached its end, and I would like to tell you good appetite for the lunch and looking forward to see you after lunch. You're welcome. Thanks.